Oshio. Alright, here's something. Let me ask you a question. And I'm not going to go into a bunch of rigmarole or what have you. I just want to ask you a question. It's something that I have to ask myself. Mind you, with this question, I'm not only asking you, I'm asking myself this too. How strong is your faith? Think about it carefully, and you know, if you want, you can answer it, but it's not required. This is not a question that is meant for you to fill out your comment down there below to explain how strong your faith is. You know, if you have a comment, leave one. Okay, but here's the thing. Why am I asking this question? Well, you know, I don't know all the therefores and therewiths, but what I do know is apparently there's online that you can get access to. I'm not for sure where it's at right off the bat, but that's beside the point. But anyway, there's this article, and this thing even has something to do with oh, I don't know what you call it. It has to do with, you know, you've heard of the implanting chip thing. We all heard about that. Well, you know, there's always been questions and debates amongst people whether it is or is not the mark of the beast. Well, the simple solution to the matter is, what's like this. Non-believers don't want that chip in their hands, and neither should a believer, right? If you're smart, you'd say, yeah, right. Well, okay. Now, with keeping that in mind, now whether you want to question whether it's the mark or not the mark, the best way to look at it is like this. If anything that is required in such a way that whether it's in your body or on your body, whatever it may be, that is required for you to, that you cannot, it's done in such a way that you cannot buy or sell without it, you can figure in some way or another it's bound to have something to do with the mark of the beast, and you don't want it, right? So you don't want to have nothing to do with that, correct? Alright, well, this article about Obama's health care plan and some other rigmarole. We got a bunch of big fancy words I couldn't pronounce, and no sense even going there. But the thing is, according to the article and everything, and the stipulations and all, well, that's a big word for me, ain't it? And on around March 23rd of next year, 2013, now supposedly, time will tell, but supposedly that we are all, every single one of us has to be required to have this. It's not only got where you have to, you know, have all your medical information, but it also will have all your other data. Also, your banking, you know, your driver's license, criminal records, whatever records you got out there. If you, no matter what it is, it's all in that little chip. And you can't do, according, you know, you're not going to be able to do anything without it. So, you know, me personally, I don't want to have nothing to do with it, and I'm not going to. But whether you want to see it as the mark of the beast or not, and if they don't change things around between now and then, If they don't move the date back and postpone it to another date, well, come next year on March 23rd, we're all have to be required to have it, or if you don't, then, hey, then thus my question, how strong is your faith? You know that sooner or later it was coming. I mean, it just seems like it's a little sooner than what one would think. But like I said, whether you want to view it as the mark or not, it changes nothing. Even if we can say that it is the mark, okay? Even there's a lot of non-believers who don't want to have nothing to do with that. And then there's a big majority who would love it. More convenient, don't you think? Huh? Yeah. Well, let's look at it this way. Why, if you're unsure whether it's the mark or not, why do you want to risk playing with your eternal soul? Think about it. See, I'm not telling you that it is, and I'm not telling you it is not. All I'm doing is asking you a question and give you something to think about, and think about the logics of it. If you're not for sure if something is the mark of the beast, look at it this way. If it has something to do with your body, in or outside, or on it, or in it, underneath the skin, or whatever, if you're required that only with that you can only buy or sell, then chances are, you're not going to want that, and then it's bound to be the mark of the beast. But whether you want to see it as that or not, why mess with it? You don't want it. And as a Christian, to those who are Christians, why do you want to risk playing around with your soul, and stuff? But the question is, see, what separates the men and the boys and the women and the girls is, a matter of, can you stand the test? So these are things to think about. Now, some of you will watch this video and you will think about it, and a majority of you will poo-poo it off and you won't think nothing more about it. And then when it comes around to the time, whether it's next year or further move down to another date further down the road, whatever, the question lies, and ask yourself truthfully, how strong is your faith? Will you stand the test, or will you cave in? No one can answer that question but you and God. I can't answer that for you. And but the question is, how strong is your faith? It's something for you to think about. And with the things the way they are in the world today, we know that we're in the last of the last days. So, the events in the Bible and Revelations, it will happen. They are happening. And there's still other events to happen. But how they come about is not the way, not necessarily don't mean that your way of thinking it's going to happen is going to happen in that exact way, or in the time frame that you think it ought to happen. Same for me on my thinking. The thing is, when it comes down to it, hey, what if they did it tomorrow? Or said next month? What? Everyone's dependent, like on, because they have medications and different other type things going on, and some people are just used to having things, and now there's a threat that you're going to have to make a decision. What it will require, if you make one choice, you could lose everything, or you make one choice where you can have everything, but you could more or less consider that you've sold your soul, and there ain't no reversing it. There's no change. I changed my mind, Lord. it was a mistake. No. That's not what Revelations tells us. Sorry. Once you take the mark, whether you know, I mean, hey, it doesn't matter whether it wasn't quite the way you thought it was, you know, but it has to do, really, you made a decision about whether God, doing without other things, not relying on Him to take care of you, or that, you know, or that you just decided, well, you know, that, hey, I wanted all this stuff to, you know, because I'm greedy, I'm selfish, it's all about me. Well, anyway, I didn't mean to go into all that. I just meant to ask the question, how strong is your faith? So, it's all come boiling down to this. You got a decision to make. Come March 23rd of next year, or like I said, if they decide to move it down the road a little bit, because I've seen where they've done that a lot of times. They've, you know, like with the smart card, they kind of moved it down, but they did have that still in some states and in big cities like New York, for example. They got the smart card. It was a choice to, you know, get the smart card, pay a little more for it than you would your average, you know, driver's license or ID, right? Well, yeah, they had to pay a little more for it. But see, the thing is, they sometimes move dates aside, change a little things here and there. But the question is, how strong is your faith? You have to sit there and think also in this in the same thought, that it's not about really if they ever make you take the a chip or a mark or what. It has to do with, I mean, when. And it seems when, and from all appearances, it seems to be coming a little sooner than what we have all thought. But think about the question. You know, sometimes I tend to chunner a lot, but think about it. I have to, and you do. And let's understand one thing: without God, how can we stand? We can't. He can take care of us. I've known many times where He's took care of me when I had nothing, absolutely nothing. He's took care of me. So I know He is able. Even when things look, you know, I remember when things looked just all gloomy. There's no hope. And God always came through, though some would say at the last minute, but it was always just in time. So nothing's impossible with God. He can take care of His own. But the thing is, are you going to trust Him? Am I going to trust Him? I have to rely on everything I remember what He has done, and remember that, and know that what He is capable of and can do. And to put my trust in Him and not on man, not on things. Is that where your faith is? On things? How strong is your faith? Let's clarify it a little bit further. How strong is your faith in God? How strong is your trust in God? Think about it. God bless you. Shalom and ha-ho.